G'day, you're listening to the Virtual Staff Room, and this is episode 40. There's an app for that. Hi, Chris Betcher here. Thanks for joining us. In this episode, I was originally going to be talking to the three organisers of the Slide to Learn conference, Megan Yemmer, Jenny Ashby and Jonathan Nalder. And one thing and another, it just didn't quite work out. We couldn't find a common time, and when we did, we had connection problems and whatnot. So that didn't actually happen. I'm holding that one over, and we're trying to re-record that in a couple of days' time. So hopefully we'll have something else for you there. But the topic was all about dealing with iDevices, iPads, iPhones, iPads, and how they can be employed in learning. And of course, that's what the Slide to Learn conference is all about. When I mentioned online that we might be having this conversation, Rob Newberry from Singapore jumped in. Rob's a bit of an old hand on the podcast. I think he's this is his third episode he's been involved with. Rob volunteered to jump in because his school's actually doing some stuff with iPads, iPhones as well. Rob then recommended Tyler Sherwood, a mate of his that also teaches in Singapore at another school in the same sort of school district. And Brett Moller from up in the Gold Coast joined in as well. And all of those guys, Rob, Tyler and Brett, are in schools where they're running trials with the iPads or iPhones or iPods, the iDevices as we call them. So it's an interesting chat, and just to make it even more interesting, Brett was in fact sitting on the beach in Burleigh Heads, on the beach with his phone on Skype on a 3G connection, and did the whole call on the 3G connection, which I thought was pretty interesting. The call quality is actually pretty darn good. So without too much more delay, I'll just pass you over to these guys. I think they're doing some really interesting things with the iDevices. And at the end of this episode, hang around to the end, because we have a little session at the end where each of us does some recommendations of apps that we're finding useful. So here we go. Enjoy. All right, well, let's get started. So on the line today, we have three educators who work with mobile technology, and I'll start around the horn here with Rob Newberry. G'day, Rob.
Hey, how are you?
Very well. Mate, I think you've just earned the distinction of being the only person to appear on this podcast 3 times.
Oh, wow, that's great. That's a nice, that's quite a distinction, actually. I'll put that on my Twitter profile.
There you go. And we also have Brett Moller.
Hello.
G'day, Brett. And Brett is talking to us from his iPhone over Skype on Burleigh Beach. Yes?
Yes. Absolutely beautiful day today.
Burleigh Beach is lovely too.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, and it sounds really good. Apart from that truck that just went by, the sound is fabulous from you.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Kudos to Telstra, and their network obviously works.
Yeah, exactly. And Rob, I should have just mentioned that you are in not Thailand now. I always get this wrong. Singapore.
Yeah, I'm in Singapore now.
Singapore, yeah. And also we have joining us Tyler. Tyler, your last name is Sherwood, correct?
Sherwood, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, Tyler Sherwood. And you are in Singapore, if I read that correctly.
I am, yeah, just down the road from Rob, actually. Wish I was on the beach with Brett, though.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys, for joining us today. It's best laid plans. I actually had a podcast lined up with some of the organisers of the Slide to Learn conference. But one thing and another, it all just kind of fell through. But you guys stepped up and went, yeah, let's talk anyway. So this is great. And the topic we wanted to talk about was just the use of iDevices for education. So iPods, iPhones, iTouches, and whatever else Apple might bring out. But and I suppose other people as well. You know, there's lots of competition in this space now. So it's kind of an interesting area to watch in education. Certainly one of the areas that the Horizon report keep flagging as being important to the future of education is mobile learning.
Yeah.
And working from the cloud and whatnot. And I guess this all encompasses all that sort of stuff. So who wants to start? Who wants to start telling us about what they're doing with iDevices?
I think sounds like my 3-month-old is the one that wants to start. Sorry about that.
That's all right. It might be worth, Tyler, just while you're not talking and someone else is, might be worth just hitting the mute button on Skype just to kill that.
Sure.
And just unmute it when you're ready to talk.
Yep, can do.
Okay, no worries. Who'd like to start? How about Brett?
All right, I'll start.
Seeing you talking to us on a mobile device.
Yeah, exactly. We've started playing with them at our school a little bit. And I guess the first thing that comes up is probably, it's probably fitting what I'm doing right now, is the ease of access of a mobile device. So, we get excited about the idea of being able to use them out in the field. So I've got geography teachers that will take an iPad out into the field on a field trip and start mapping and collecting data and sending data back, and doing all those things that geography people love.
So you've got class sets of iPads and stuff there going, have you?
No, actually, we started slow and steady. Our school, we probably only own across the school maybe only 6 or 7 iPads, but we've put them in the hands of different classes that just wanted to have a go and see what they could do with it. And from my observations, I mean, I think geography are winning the race at the moment. I think just being able to do what they can do out in the field with them is wonderful. And when the iPads came out here in Australia and we had relatively inexpensive data plans, the little prepaid data packs, it became quite affordable. So playing with that's been interesting. And then we've had students bring them in, obviously. We've always had students with iPhones and mobile phones and things like that. But that ease of access was probably one of the greatest things. But then it's also caused probably one of the greatest issues with the fact that now you've got a 3G internet connection in your back pocket that bypasses anything the school provides as an internet connection. And then that just opens a can of worms, and quite an interesting can of worms as well. But it really changes what can happen. Kids can bypass what your school might think is their filtering setup, and it's all a bit of fun at the moment.
Jeff Utek said to me recently that it's an interesting situation that you've got parents who are worried about what their kids will get onto on the school networks, and yet they give them a 3G mobile device to
That's right.
themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at with it. And also we do a lot.
iPads you mainly got there?
Yeah, iPads and iPod Touches as well. But we've also started heavily using Apple's wiki servers with Podcast Producer.
Right, yeah.
So being able to provide academic content so quickly and easily that's then transferred onto iDevices by the students. And then just week before last, I had my media students with a couple of iPhones. They just ran around the school swimming carnival, and we had a live feed going back to school of the high school swimming carnival. Nice. And then updates being sent throughout the day through our school website and school iPhone app. So parents were able to check in what was going on, and all the filming was happening on iPhones.
That's very good.
Because the quality of the footage is amazing.
Yeah, no, that was. We'll get to the details of that later. I just want to get to the other guys and find out what they're doing. But hold that thought, because I want to come back to you and talk about some of the logistics of how you do that.
Yeah, sure.
It would be interesting. Rob, what's going on at your place with iDevices?
Right now, we've just got 20 iPod Touches, the newer ones with the cameras, and we are really lucky because our school purchased one of those Bradford PowerSync cases. I don't know if you've seen those. It's the as far as I know, it is the only mobile case that it's like a suitcase, and you plug them all in. So it takes all 20, and then there's a USB cord that pops out of it. You just pop it into your laptop, and so you can sync them all and charge them all at the same time. It's gone really well so far. We've done a couple of PD sessions, and the people that seem to show up for the most, for the sessions the most are the early years. So we've had the K1, K2, and Year 1 and Year 2 teachers. They seem really keen on it. We've done some really nice things with them. A lot of, initially what we didn't want them just being, an expensive set of cameras. But we've definitely been using them that way. Right now we're looking at apps and what apps can we use and which ones are the best ones. We get a lot of people saying, "Oh, can we get this app? Can we get this app?" And then we look into it and it's sort of doesn't have good reviews, or it seems like it's just a lot of game playing, not really linked to anything that we're doing with the curriculum. So right now we're sort of looking at different apps and seeing which ones work the best for us. We've had some really, really great success with the fact that because they're all Wi-Fi, we've signed them all up with 20 email addresses that are unique to that iPod. So the iPod will be like iPod001@chatsworth.com.sg. Right. So whenever a student is connected, if they take them out on a field trip, they can just take notes in the notes program, or just take some pictures, whatever, and then come back to school and then email them, email those notes or pictures right to the teacher or right to their own accounts, whatever it is. So they've been going really well. We found that they've gone so well that students are actually bringing their own iPod touches in now, and like just to the classroom, and using them for different things like filming and different apps. So it's gone really well. We've been really impressed.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah.
sounds cool. Tyler, you there?
Yeah, here, yeah.
Excellent. You're at a different
Switched
school to
rooms.
Rob, even though you're in Singapore, correct?
I am. We're actually at the same group of schools, but I'm at a different campus than Rob is.
Right. So what are you guys doing there with the little devices?
Yeah, my school is a primary school. Rob's goes K to 12. We brought in a dozen iPads this year, just mostly to trial out in the early years. Originally an early years teacher myself, that was kind of the area that I was most interested in with the iPads. So we've been using that down in our kindergarten classes at the moment, starting to branch up a little more into the kind of the upper primary, or lower primary rather, depending on the units of inquiry that the students and the teachers are working on. Lots of great things happening with it, but also starting to use the iPad now as an administrator, using that in the classroom. So I've just recently put together a classroom walkthrough template with Bento. And so using that now just to pop into classrooms periodically and see what's going on, just to do some quick evaluations on the learning environment. And using the iPod touches as well. I haven't got as many as Rob has got over there, but we do have enough for the students to take out on field trips and working around the school, depending on, again, what they're doing in their units of inquiry. I think probably using the iPod touches the same way that a lot of people are using them for at the moment with the different apps that are out there.
If kids turn up with their own iPod touches or iPhones or whatever, you're happy to just put them on the network and let them use it, or is there still kind of a, no, this has to be our device kind of approach to it?
To be honest with you, Chris, I don't think that's happened yet, but if it did happen, I'd have no issue with doing that. We're completely open, so as a philosophy, I wouldn't have an issue with it at all.
So, Brett, you were saying that's what you guys do, right? If kids turn up with an iDevice of their own, you'll quite happily just hook them up.
Yeah, well, we were like that, and now we've hit the battle Anyway, I can't say too much, I'm sure. I'll have foot and mouth again. I think our philosophy is very open too, but we've always been the school's always had a fairly conservative approach to internet. I mean, when I turned up there 2 years ago, every site on the internet was blocked except the ones that were approved by a teacher. And now we're quite open compared to that. But we were allowing it for quite some time. And there was a couple of concerns that came up, just with the open access. And then we sort of started letting it. And then we ran into the technical issues. Because like most schools, if you've got a proxy or filter in place, we can allow the devices through the proxy, and the kids are welcome to authenticate through it. The issue is, though, a lot of the apps don't recognise a proxy service, so now I'm getting really technical. But yeah, basically that means that while Safari and the web browsing and stuff and a handful of apps will still work, a lot of those other apps that the developer hasn't accounted for connections through a proxy don't seem to work. So we ran into that problem when we bit the bullet and activated a proxy for filtering reasons. But as you were saying before, we just now have kids that have all got 3G connections.
Yeah, exactly.
When we rolled out our one-to-one laptops, I had a student say to me, the greatest thing about my iPhone, sir, is that I can tether from my bag in my locker into the classroom next door and do whatever I want. So he can turn off his Wi-Fi and off he goes. So we started working around that. Our kids have a fairly open slather to the web. We give them plenty of data. We filter the obvious. But yeah, just that technical hurdle we're still trying to work over with the iOS devices in particular with a proxy.
Yeah, it's interesting. I hadn't thought about that because I know with ours we actually have a separate Wi-Fi VLAN that kids connect to. So we have the official school one that all the official school devices connect to, and they get access to printers and file shares and everything else. But there's a second there's three, but the second VLAN that the mobile stuff connects to is not proxied. Now, it is proxied somehow. It is actually tracked and, monitored in some way, but it's not through... you don't have to change your proxy settings. So I don't know how they've done that, but it works really well. All you need basically is the password to the Wi-Fi access point when you're on.
Sure. Yeah, and that's probably the way we'll go, but... it's fun just experimenting with it all at the moment and documenting where the hurdles have been and then, those next challenge to get past. But, we actually find when we're off-site, and that's where I find the mobile device is so handy when you're actually not on campus. The 3G connection seems wonderful most places we go, and there's so much you can do.
Yeah. I think you live in a fairly 3G-rich environment up there on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, we must. I don't know why, but I think we're fairly good. And most of the places, we've just had a lot of kids off on camps and stuff, and most of the places they go have a fairly decent Telstra connection.
Yeah, I mean, considering you're sitting on a beach talking on a phone, the connection's rock solid, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's over 3G, so it's pretty good.
Yeah. It's interesting, just I'll throw this out to all three of you, so anyone respond who wants to. It's kind of interesting to me. Every time I hear schools talking about their iPod trials or their iPhone trials, it's still always referred to as a trial. I haven't seen anyone kind of bite the bullet and go, yeah, we're going iPads in the same kind of, definite sort of gung-ho manner that they'd say, yes, we're going to laptops. Everything's still in that sort of trial. We're trying it. We're seeing what we can do with it kind of approach.
Yeah.
I think, sorry if I can just jump in there, just from a budgeting admin point of view. If you call it a trial, you're more apt to get a few of them and have a go with it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I think the other aspect of it, the other aspect of it is that the iPads are still, I mean, they're not even a year old, right? I mean, they're still pretty new. And for what they can do, I mean, I got into a big debate with some people recently on Twitter about this, and that was, iPads as a one-to-one device.
Yep.
I'm not sure if this is taking the competition.
And that's been from day one. That's kind of been the people talking about. Well, is it a content creation device? Is it a content consumption device? And there's always been that argument. I think that's kind of the crux of whether they then fall into the realm of being something you could use for your full-time device.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, at this point, I mean, I love it. I mean, it's a really nice device and everything. But at this point, I still don't see it as a one-to-one device at all. We did a workshop recently in Adelaide for the IB, and we had about 37 people come in for it. A few of them brought iPads, and what we had to do is we had to find a laptop for them to use because a lot of the things we were doing, like we were using Wall Wisher, we were using VoiceThread, we were using some apps that were Flash-based, and there was just no access at all.
No, that's true, yeah.
So that's a huge problem. I don't think that, for me, just given the nature of Web 2.0 tools out there, and based on the fact that so many of them are Flash-based, I can't. That's why I'm saying I'm really curious to see schools that have said, yes, we have made a significant move towards iPads, and this is what our platform is going to be. I'm curious to know what sites that they're using and which ones they're not, and how they get around that Flash sort of requirement.
Yeah, I think for us, we just rolled one-to-one laptop, and when a lot of people were talking about, well, what about iPads? They're cheaper, they're this, they're that. And I think when we sat down and you look at it, the price argument sort of gets thrown out of the window pretty quickly because you got to talk about storage and, really the price difference isn't that much.
No, it's not. No.
Beneficial to a MacBook. And then you look at what's possible with the laptop and in the end, you just have to sit back and just have the whole, well, what's our educational philosophy discussion, and base your IT decisions around that. Unfortunately, I think a lot of places seem to be jumping on that's the finance bandwagon, which, I mean, everyone has financial constraints. So let's go iPads, they're cheaper. And I think they'll eventually work out that they're not really that much cheaper. And then there's what do kids do with computers anyway? And I think here in Australia, where we've had the funding from the federal government for laptops, programs and things, a lot of people jumped on, that means kids can type their assignments and they can Google search. An iPad is fine for that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, even with the keyboard, I don't like typing with it. But
it does seem like a solution in search of a problem. It's like this beautiful little device. It's just the right size. It's just the right weight. It's lovely to look at. It's got so much going for it, and you kind of look at it and you go, there has to be something in the educational sort of space where this is the right solution. But I guess that's what I was getting at with the we keep referring to it as a trial. I think it's a device that seems so obvious that it has to fit in somewhere, but no one's kind of figured out the niche yet, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting excited about what geography are doing with it. I think that's great. I think it fits them perfectly.
Yeah.
And there's technical devices like our tech design guys have a 3D printer, and I mean we're not going to give everybody a 3D printer because it's just not appropriate. And I don't think everyone's going to need an iPad and an iPhone and a laptop. For some subjects it will be appropriate and it will be a great device and it will work well. I don't think it's the device for across the board. I think the laptop seems to be that. There's 20 years or so of school laptop programs to look back on and see the successes and failures there, and I think the successes are quite impressive. And I think that's the other reason we would look at saying trial, because I mean, has anyone done anything successful with them yet that is mind blowing?
I'm sure someone not going to be reaching for I love my iPad, but I'm not going to reach for it when I want to do some heavy photo editing in Photoshop or Premiere Pro or something. It's just not the right device for that.
Even editing movies, yeah.
Yeah, but in a very watered down kind of way.
Sure. Yeah. No, I wouldn't use it. I would use my laptop for sure. You were talking initially. You said there's other devices too. I'm really curious to see how some of the other devices, some of the Windows-based or Android pads, like those sort of tablets, are being used because there is some flash support. There's also the USBs that you can plug a USB stick into them. For those kind of things, I'd be really curious to see a class set of those going out and seeing how they compare to the iPod use in the classroom.
It's interesting because they've really only just relatively recently released Honeycomb, which is the first Android operating system actually optimized for the tablet. So all the Android stuff you've seen so far for tablet has been a phone system that's basically been bastardized to work on a tablet. It'll be kind of interesting to see how that unfolds over the next little while and how that operating system iterates, into the next couple of generations on the tablet form.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the niche then? Do you think where is the sweet spot for the iPad in education?
That's a good question.
For me, I see it I see it. I kind of see it where Tyler's been using it in the early years. If I imagine sort of, I'm just looking at what we're doing at our school. I mean, it seems like a nice model. From year 6, like right now, we've got laptops in year 6. We're rolling them out all the way through secondary, and we're moving down to year 5 as well next year. So laptops seem like the best way to go for that. Years 3 and 4, we haven't got to that yet, but the early years seems to be a really nice area for it. Because they're tactile, they're really intuitive.
And you don't have to log on.
Yeah, exactly. It's just slide, you just swipe to unlock and then away you go, and the apps are right there. The kids, and I've seen some great videos that Tyler's shot of some of his kids using the iPads, and just how quickly they pick it up and how they just lean over and teach each other something or show each other, some of the things that they're doing. It's pretty wild. I see the early years for sure. I see the younger years for sure. That's the niche that I see right now at this point in the game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
How much time would you envision an early years class spending with an iPad in a school day? As much as your older years use a laptop, or less, or more?
For me, it'd be less. I mean, I think it'd be a lot less. There wouldn't be. Our students in years, like say year 6 as an example. They're on Google Docs. They've got their email addresses. They've got accounts with all these different things. They do screencasting. Just when you think about how much writing or how much research they would do, because those two basic things that people use computers for the first two things, they use them a lot more than sort of the K1s or the year 1s would do it. It's just a different approach to the curriculum. So you don't. I wouldn't want to see them in kids' hands as much. I don't think. I don't know if I'd be comfortable with that. I'd start to wonder, like, when are they going to do finger painting?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I was
the finger painting on the iPad.
Sorry, Tyler, go on.
They'll do their finger painting on the iPad.
That's true. Yeah.
I think within the early years, I think the iPad implementing that really showcases technology as just another tool in the room, because you have the ability to drop them down at the different learning centers. So your early years are working in learning centers around the room throughout the day. So whether they're in the mathematics learning center or whether they're in the language center, there's other activities that are happening in that center, but the iPad is just another tool there as well, depending on what it is that they're working within. So I think really as a tool to enhance and further expand what you're already doing in the classroom, they're perfect examples of that.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I especially in those really younger years, the sort of the pre-kindy year one, man, I just see lots of uses there. Even just the story, simple stuff like read you a story and interact with some multimedia stuff. I know that's not really high-end computing or anything, but it's just the right device for interacting with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and if you think about it, sorry, Todd.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say something about language. I was going to say, from a language perspective, because they're so visual and they're, the apps. You can get apps that are sort of very, very, language heavy. But if you've got students that are, learning languages or coming in from a different country and picking up English, the iPads and the mobile devices seem like a really nice fit for those kids as well.
Yeah. Speaking of apps, I thought I'd just give you a heads up on this now. I'm thinking towards the end of this podcast, I might just go round the room and ask you for a couple of recommendations of apps that you find really useful in the educational space. So I'll just mention it now so you can think about it in the background until we get to it.
Great.
Now, Brett, you were talking about some of the logistics of managing stuff, and Rob, you mentioned like the trolley or the charging station that you've got there, which sounds really good, because I think that's kind of an issue, isn't it? The whole there seems to be a lot of questions where people are going, I'm not really sure how the licensing aspect of this works, and if I buy an app, how many machines can I put it on, and how do I deploy it, and is there imaging?
Yeah.
All those sorts of really sort of, I know we're getting into the geeky stuff now, but like, can we just touch on that? Because I think that's kind of relevant for people who want to do this. Mm-hmm. You can't just simply buy a bunch of devices and it's not like a computer where you just go and install software on all of them. There's a kind of a managed process for getting stuff on and off an iPad or an iPhone or an iPod Touch.
Yeah, there's a school up this way, and I'll send you a link, Chris, for your show notes or something. That's been doing. I'm pretty sure they're completely one-to-one iPad in high school. And what they do is when the kids come and pick up their iPads, they also get a $50 or $100 iTunes card, and they get told you have to buy these apps, and the rest the rest of the credit's up to you. Which seems a bit of a clumsy way to do it, but obviously it works. The other one too is I know in the US they've been trialing, and it's all over Apple's American education site, volume licensing for iOS apps, and there are developers that join in. And the other trick that I also found was I've actually just directly contacted a lot of app developers and said, this is what we're doing and this is how we're using it. And I've had developers send us the actual app file and said, we hereby give you permission to go for it and install it on as many as you want. You've bought one copy, that's fine. Please give us some feedback. And these little independent developers are more than happy for you to pay for it once or twice and also provide them with plenty of feedback. And they sort of give you this in writing license, I guess, over email, which has been really helpful. But besides that, I haven't seen any other easy way to deploy, image, anything like that. Those two ways seem to have been the most effective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting that there really doesn't seem to be a kind of a designated, technique for doing this. People are kind of making it up as they go along.
Yeah,
I think it's something Apple needs to jump on that kind of. Really?
I don't know. I mean, I think people sort of making it up as they go along is always interesting. I think it's I think the idea of kids being in control of their device and being level 1 tech support, and look, the easiest way for us to do this is just to get all the kids to have an iTunes voucher.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a part of that I really like because I think they're taking responsibility for it all.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it's also that it's taking it out of the hands of technicians.
No, I actually like that approach. It's just probably it's an inefficient way, but it might be an effective way. So
Yeah, sure.
effective beats efficiency anytime.
You don't have the ability to buy those iTunes gift certificates in every country, though. Singapore, for example, we don't have an actual Apple store, so we don't have the gift certificate, so that wouldn't be an avenue for us.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So what do you do, Tyler? You just basically have one machine that you sync all these things to, so you buy the app once and then deploy it out across multiple devices?
Yeah, am I allowed to say that?
I'm kind of keeping quiet about this one.
You didn't say it, I did. That's what I do.
Oh, right.
That's what I do for me. You just nod or whatever in the background, okay? Well,
It is a tough one.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You haven't been given an actual alternative from Apple. I mean, they haven't provided you with a mechanism for doing it any other way. So I don't know.
Right.
There's not even a pricing structure for doing it, quote, legitimately, is there?
No, not that I'm aware of, and I actually would be curious to see what some of there's some local schools here that have just rolled out a one-to-one iPad program as Apple schools, and I'd be quite interested to see how they run it and how they do get those apps onto the machines for the students. They've got to have a way, whether it's the students going to the machine that's loading the apps on for them, and they're paying a certain amount of money per app, and that's getting sent to the developers. I don't know how they're doing it, but something might be.
I mean, we had a couple of parents at our school who approached us and said, look, we really want to make sure our kids are doing the right thing with copyright of music, movies, and apps for their phones and stuff. What do you suggest? And the gift card.
Some of those parents.
Yeah, exactly. It was quite shocking, really. We said, well, this is great. Let's see how we can help. We made, and one of the things the parents came up with was they actually got their kids one of those debit Visa cards which don't cost anything, and the kids put their pocket money on that, and they use that to buy their apps and things like that. And I had one father say, it's wonderful, he's learning to budget and it's not costing me anything, and he's doing the right thing. I mean, that's a bit of a clumsy way around it too, but it seems to work.
Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting that the hardware that we bought, that Bradford sync case, I mean, the design of it is set up in such a way that you can purchase one app and sync it to all devices. I mean, you just plug them all in.
You mean theoretically you could do that, Rob? Not that
exactly. Yeah, I would never really do that. But I mean, that's the way that the hardware that is sort of out there that you can purchase right now. That's the way it's set up.
Right.
And I think
it's
Apple
interesting
is
that hardware is also pushed and promoted through Apple.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's linked from their Apple website. I think that it's also interesting too that Apple is very forthcoming as well. They're forthcoming, and they'll say I've had conversations with people at Apple who have said, yeah, we're still working on it, and that they're trialing it in the States and they're using that that sort of the large you can buy it in large scale, but it's basically the honor system kind of, right? I mean, you there's no obligation for people except for if your moral compass is, I guess I keep saying this, but if your moral compass is sort of aligned, then you'll want to go with that. But yeah, the hardware. It's interesting that the hardware doesn't seem to sort of take that into consideration.
Yeah. So Tyler, where do you see this going for you guys in terms of, is this let's come back to the word trial again. Is this something you think you'll pan out into something that's not a trial, or something that's just part of the landscape at what you do?
At the moment, what we're putting forward for our budget for the coming years, in the early years, to move the desktops and the laptops out of the classroom and work with the iPads. The children aren't going to the desktops at all anymore.
That's interesting.
They're just it is, and I mean, this is after the novelty factor of the iPad has worn off. Also, sure. I mean, certainly at the start, everyone's excited and everybody wants to play with it, but it really is just another tool in the room now. So much so that I'm not working with the teachers and the students down there anymore. I mean, that's initially. It was me working with them for certain periods in the day.
So are you saying that you actually have computers in the classrooms and they've got the iPads, but they tend to just gravitate towards the iPads and leave the computers alone now?
They don't go to the computers at all. And the computers were being used, certainly some of the applications, the programs on the desktops were linking with the language program, Jolly Phonics, that kind of thing.
Right. But those computers are in the classroom with the kids? Or
they're in the classroom with the kids. No, they're in the classroom as a pod setup, but
Right.
the time it takes, I guess, for them to power in to log on in the morning, although the teachers are looking after that for the really younger grades, but just it's not as attractive to the students to try and manipulate a mouse that manipulates a pointer on the screen, a keyboard that's in the way most of the time.
Yeah.
I think Rob, it was you that had a great photo of a kindergarten student touching the screen on a laptop.
Yeah, on a MacBook,
trying to get it to do something. Yeah, it's very much turning into that. The younger children, it's just so intuitive. It's what they want to do. They want to touch it.
Yeah,
and
really
to see the 3-year-olds, you were talking about language earlier, Rob, seeing the 3-year-olds, because, we do have over 50 nationalities in the school, and seeing the 3-year-olds within minutes of working in a group with all having individual iPads, the language that just comes out through the collaboration and the discussion of explaining to other children how to move on an app to another, manipulate the specific app that they're currently in, is fantastic as well.
Yeah, that's quite fascinating. Brett, you mentioned something about a school app. Hello, Brett.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We developed. Sorry, you there?
Yeah, still here.
Yeah, sorry. We developed something sort of late last year. It was the brainchild of the principal, just for a way of getting information out to parents, and it sort of has evolved over time and will continue to. It was originally just designed for iPhones and to just disseminate information to parents, because parents don't read newsletters anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's...
You sound like you're off the beach now.
Yeah, I sort of got off. It's getting really windy, so... Sorry. It's a sunny day, but it's windy. I'm such a whinger.
So now you're sitting in the car?
No, I'm sitting in the car looking at the water. I'll send photos. Okay. Sorry. We just put things like, school calendar, main events and stuff on there. And then at the same time I was working with podcast producer and stuff like that. And I said, well, wouldn't it be great if we could start sending videos during the day to parents? Because parents are really checking this app quite regularly.
Who wrote the app?
Actually a past student. So
Nice.
we designed it. We sort of came up with the brief and everything we wanted on there, and found a past student who just graduated uni, or I think he was just running his own sort of web development company. And he said, oh, yeah, I'd like to learn to develop apps. And we thought, well, you go away and do some learning, and we'll sort of come up with what we want. And, this was his first app that he did, and it got approved straight away, and he obviously did the right thing. So, it's been quite successful from that sort of PR, sending out information. But I think the next step for us is actually starting to share a lot of visual stuff of what kids are doing at school, off campus, that sort of thing. Sending video updates while kids are on camp, so mum can check up what they're doing, and little things like that. So, it has
the potential to really evolve into something big.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So at the moment, it's the PR sort of information dissemination sort of sort of
What's
thing.
What's the name of the app?
It's just King's Christian College. Actually, if you just search KCC on the App Store, you'll find it under education.
Okay, cool.
Probably completely irrelevant to anyone outside of our community, but Yeah, but
we just rated 4.5 stars. That's up there with Angry Birds.
There you go. Yeah, I mean that was fun too. We had a lot of parents and stuff rating the app, which was good. And then you always get students who decide to rate the app and write some interesting things. And Apple are really good with their rating system on the App Store. If someone gives you what's obviously quite a horrible rating without any real justification, you can have a chat to Apple about that apparently. So, and sort of sort those things out. But I think it's pretty positive so far.
I might have to get the name of this student that wrote this from you at some stage.
I think that's really great. It's nice to hear that schools are doing that. When I was at Aircoast in October, I remember saying to a lot of administrators that as schools and as school districts and in communities, we need to be much more involved with app development. The apps that get developed for schools should be culturally relevant. They should be community relevant. I was looking for the other day. I was talking to a teacher who wanted an app to count money and so I went online and found a couple of great apps, but they were all U.S. coins. So really nice apps. It puts a bunch of coins on the screen. How much is this? So it works on counting. It's really nice for math. But there's no Singapore coins. There's no app for Singapore coins.
Yeah.
So again, this is where somebody in Singapore would be really, we'd be trying to step up and create really, relevant apps that were relevant to our school community. I think that's something I think that'll happen a lot more in the future as SDK becomes a bit more. You get, people start using it a lot more, and it becomes a little bit easier to use. Because right now, I took a look at it last year, and it's just like a whole new language for me. It would take a massive amount of time to start putting into app development.
Yeah. We've pushed students in, like current students who are keen to learn, and our school runs a co-curricular program pretty heavily through both right through the school, and we're trying to encourage next semester's co-curric to include an app development option that kids can go along and start to learn that stuff. But you look at the syllabuses and that of the IT subjects. Yeah. I'm not sure what it's like in other parts of the world, but from what I've seen in Queensland and New South Wales, they're not exactly up to date. And we've still got kids programming in Turbo Pascal.
Yeah, we got to get away from word processing before we get into app development.
Yeah.
Hey, this is really impressive, this app. I really like it. And I think it's only simple. It only tells you upcoming notices about what's coming up, and then a weekly calendar, and you can add the calendar to your iPhone and stuff. So it's simple, but it's great. It's effective.
Yeah, so when we had the swimming carnival happening, there was just a link out of the app with the notices that just had, check out the latest update from the swimming carnival. And we can update that live from school. So I was uploading it from this pool that wasn't on campus. We were 20 minutes away from campus, and just notifying the podcast producer notifies our PR guy, and he says, "Yep, this is great." Makes it go live, adds a notice to the app, and parents are watching it within a couple of minutes.
Wow, that's really good. I really like that. Yeah. I'll maybe talk to you later about this because it's probably too geeky for this conversation, but I'm really intrigued as to how you get content from, whether you have to reproduce the content twice or whether this is actually fed from an existing CMS somewhere. So we can
talk about that.
Yeah, I'm curious too.
It's a roundabout sort of way. It's actually not really created twice. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
It's all good.
And that...
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, one more thing I'll mention too on this.
Having rediscovered this whole notion of information flow, aren't they? Because I know, you do a newsletter, you do a website, you have your internal intranet, and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
it's really, we've got to get better at coming up with ways of writing once and having it appear many times.
Exactly, and then you sit back and look at how many people you're employing in your school PR department just to reproduce the same information 10 times over.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Rob, or was it Tyler? One of you went to say something there, and I cut you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just talking about the sort of logistics of it. We were looking. We haven't purchased it, but we were looking at this thing called the Casper Suite. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. It's CASPER. It's by JAMF Software, JAMF Software. And now it's expensive. I mean, it's really pricey. I think to roll it out in a school. But what it is it's a software sort of management system that manages OS X and iOS client. So it looks really powerful. I haven't, we've been talking to them, but at this point in the game, I don't think we're going to go with it right now. But at some point in the future, if we do have 50 iPods at the school, we need to manage apps and push updates to our laptops when we start rolling them out a lot more. It's probably something we're going to look at. But it's called the Casper Suite. It's very, very powerful.
Wow, haven't heard of that. We'll check it out.
Yep.
Gentlemen, we might start wrapping things up, and if you don't mind, have you got some picks ready for us?
Sure.
Excellent. Well, I figure there's 4 of us, and if we each do 2 picks, that's going to give 8. That should give people a few things to investigate. What do you reckon?
It's going to be hard to choose 2.
Yeah, no kidding. The two that I really like, the ones the one that's really powerful that we've been using a lot is Doodle Buddy. It's a great app. We got the premium edition, and so students can. Basically it's just a drawing program that you can get it for the iPad as well. But it's really nice. The premium edition's got a really nice feature. I'm not sure if it's in the free edition, but for any iPods that are on the same network, if they're connected to the Wi-Fi, students can actually draw with another person on the network.
Like so a shared whiteboard sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what one of our teachers last week was doing poetry writing, and so students were, they were saying such and such a teacher, like Mr. Sherwood, it was juggling with meatballs. So what they would do is they'd go take the iPod, take a picture of the teacher, posing in that way, and then open the picture up in Doodle Buddy, and then draw on top of the picture and sort of animate the picture that way. It was nice. It's nice. And it's a really nice, really simple program that kids can use, and all of our age levels really like using it. That's a really nice one.
Excellent. The one that's playing with it right now, and it is fun.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I was surprised by the collaborative aspect of it, that you could draw with another person. You can do all kinds of stuff. Students can put a math problem up, and another person could answer it, or then they could just shake to reset, and then they can quiz each other math problems, or tracing letters, or all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's lots of implications for it. The other app that I really like that we just started using is one called Slice It, and it's I think it was 99 cents or $1.99 or something. And what it is it's a game that gives you a shape, and it tells you how many times you can slice the shape. But what you have to try to do is you have to try to carve it into equal shapes. Carve it into equal parts. So and it measures it. So what a student will do is they'll say, okay, so it was great for our year fives who were doing percentages. And what they did was they took the app and just went through the different shapes. And then when they got closer to, say, 50%, 50%, or 33.3, 33, like when they had to carve it into 3 or whatever, they would take a screen cap of it and then email it to their accounts. And then they would open it up in Pages later on in the computer lab, and then bring them in and say, they were writing reflections saying, oh, this is why I think I missed this one, or this is why the shape was too big, or this is why it was difficult. And they would just reflect using the screen caps they had done in Slice It. It's a great program. It's really nice.
Very cool. I'm just looking. It's $1.19 on the Australian App Store anyway, and there's a free version as well.
Yeah, the only problem with it, and this is something that I just encountered recently, is like the Tangram Pro app, which is great, another one. It's a nice one because if you take it out to a class and the class uses it, you can reset Tangram Pro so that the next class that uses it starts at level 1. So they don't have to, like, the Tangram's already solved already for them. They can go back and play them again. Slice It doesn't have that option. So if a student has solved 18 or 19 of the Slice It sort of problems, the next time a student gets it, they can go right to level 18. Some people, that's a problem. I like apps that you can reset them. That's just for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Tyler, got a couple for us?
Right, 2 difficult, but one that we really like for field trips is Sonic Pics. I don't know if you guys you've probably seen that one already, but it enables you to take photos, obviously using the iPod Touch with the camera or an iPhone when you're out on field trips, and then the students can record voice right over top of that. And as they go along through the field trip, they can make corrections if they need to. They can delete. They can add more. And at the end of it, they can save the whole thing as a video, and it just pieces it all together with all the voice and everything. You can record your voice over more than one picture just simply by flipping through the photos on your on the iPod Touch as you're talking, which is really nice. Or you can just record different voice segments on each individual picture. It's up to you how you do it. Throw it all together as a video. When you get back to school, just logging onto your Wi-Fi on your laptop or your desktop. It gives you a URL where you just download the video, and
is that similar
and there it
to
is.
StoryKit?
It is, except sorry to the people at StoryKit, Sonic Pics is just a little more fluid. It's a little nicer presentation and package to it, and it's easier to get your video and everything off the device.
Nice, I like that. I was wandering around Shanghai with Wes Fryer when I was there last year, and everywhere we went, he was taking stories and recording all these little things. And at the end of the day, we had a little digital storytelling thing all ready to go. So it was a nice little app.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And of all the great apps that are out there for the early years, if I had to just pick one, one that's really common, but it's still fantastic, especially for the 3-year-olds and the 4-year-olds, is Wheels on the Bus. Wheels on the Bus is just brilliant. They love the fact that it's in a number of different languages to listen to the song, and they love the fact that they can record their own voice right in the app as well. So they're singing right along with it, and then they're able to listen to that back, and it's fantastic.
That's one of those apps I throw in front of my 2-year-old when he wakes me up too early in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. It is
called
a lot
half
of
an hour
fun.
more sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Brett, you got a couple for us?
Yep. In the, there's plenty of note-taking apps, but big fan of Evernote and SoundNote. SoundNote will take a recording of what you're listening to as you're taking the notes, basically, and then you can export that out, which is great for conference events, but or lectures or anything like that. It's just a handy little app. But as a media teacher, film and media teacher, I love it's an app called Storyboard Composer by CineMek, CineMek, and it's really, really good on the. I mean, it's originally for the iPhone or the iPod Touch. Basically, it creates your storyboards. You can take photos to create your storyboard. You bring them in. You can allocate the times, put all the information in, sound effects, everything that you need for a storyboard, and then export that out either as a movie or also as a PDF as your storyboard. But I've actually had students started using it, and I wish the developer would make a native iPad version. But I've had students starting to use it on the iPad. Just with the larger screen, it makes it a lot easier sort of to start playing around with your images and putting all your information in for a storyboard. So I think that'd be useful for all age groups because we all love to teach kids to tell stories. So, so that's Storyboard. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Excellent. I just looked, $24. It's on the pricey side, but it sounds like it does a lot.
Isn't it terrible that we say $24 is expensive for software? I mean, these developers...
Well, for one of these kind of apps, it's on the pricey side. But yes, you're right. It's not expensive at all, really.
It is a bit tad expensive, but it's been very, very useful, and I really like it. So
cool, excellent. Was that one or two?
That was two. Oh, SoundNote was the other one.
SoundNote, of course.
Yeah.
And
yep.
SoundNote, Evernote. Well, I'll throw a couple in as well. Where will I start? Dragon Dictation, which I find astounding. I got to tell you, it's just drag and dictate, the same as what's been on the PC and desktop platform, or not PC, but you know what I mean, personal computer platform for a long time, and it's available for the iPhone and the iPad, and it is bloody amazing. The iPad version, I can't actually get it to not pick up what I'm saying. Well, actually, I probably could if I tried hard enough, but if you just speak relatively clearly and slowly and punctuate things properly, it's just about 100% accurate all the time. So I find that quite stunning, and would be great for kids who don't like to type, like me. And the other app that I discovered the other day, and again, it's a bit on the pricey side, it's a whole $17.99, is called Nano Studio. And it's a recording studio in a box. I used to play in bands when I was younger, and when I think back to what we used to pay for studio time and everything to get into a studio and record something, this thing has 4 different synthesizer engines and 2 different drum machine engines with a whole bunch of sampled sounds, and it's got a sequencer, and it's basically GarageBand for the phone, and it's astounding. Absolutely astounding. It, strangely enough, only comes on the iPhone, iPod. It doesn't come on the iPad, which is odd because it really lent itself to more screen real estate, but it really is quite amazing. So there you go. There's my 2.
That's awesome. Hey, did anyone see that video? There was a video that came from the Hong Kong, the 21st Century Learning Conference in Hong Kong just last night of a group of students
all playing music.
Formed an orchestra. Yeah, they formed an orchestra with iPads and iPhones.
I saw the laptop, but I haven't seen the video.
It's quite funny, actually. So I'm really amazed at what people can do with these things. Yeah,
I saw that. Who posted that? Was that Heppel that posted that?
There was a few versions of it. I just found it on the feed there.
Yeah, interesting. There's certainly.
How much did you say, Chris? Sorry, was Nano Studio wasn't in Australia?
I'm pretty sure it was $17.99 or $16.99, something like that. How much is it there?
$14.99.
Oh, there you go. So.
I just wonder sometimes whether the pricing is actually any different in different countries.
Well, you know what?
Sometimes it seems quite standard. It's $1.99 or
the 99 cent
$2.99
app that they get in the States, we tend to pay $1.19 for, which is really strange because now our currencies are nearly on a par, but we haven't adjusted that yet. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a fun chat, and
thank you.
Some really interesting stuff in there, and I think we're early days. You know, this is brave new territory. We don't really know where all this stuff is going, but it's great that there are guys like you out there, trying it and just seeing what you can make of it.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me in.
No worries.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Tyler. And your avatar just popped up on my screen. I thought, of course I know Tyler.
Oh, good.
This is just recognising the avatars. Have you ever done it? You walk into a room and you actually recognise people by their avatars?
Sure. Yeah, it's happened to me. People say, they just look and they say, hey, we know you. Yeah, that guy with that cat.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or just the cat itself.
Interesting.
Yeah, I recognize the cat, yeah.
Well, my Twitter avatar is actually my 2-year-old son, and we got pulled up in the streets in Melbourne about a year ago, and this lady just came up and looking at my son and says, hang on, you're Brett Moller, I follow you on Twitter.
Oh my
Just
God.
by recognising my son. It's quite scary, really.
Wow, that is interesting. All right, Tyler, where can people find you on the web, mate?
All right. T Sherwood on Twitter.
Yep.
LinkedIn, of course. Skype as we are. And all good.
T Sherwood on Twitter. That sounds good to me. So there you go. Yeah. If you're not following Tyler, go and follow him right now. Rob, where can we find you?
Yeah, same. Twitter's probably the best way. Rob in Thailand is still. I'm still going to go on the record and say it's the worst Twitter name ever. But it's just the way it's been branded. So I guess everybody knows me as that. Yeah, Rob in Thailand, living in Singapore. Yeah.
Note to self, don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good on you. Thanks, mate. And Brett.
Just Brett Moller on Twitter, Moller.
Yep. Sweet.
That's about it.
And that all lead us on to blogs and whatever else you guys do.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Much appreciated. We'll talk to you
Thanks,
again
Chris.
sometime. Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you.
Chris.
You can find the show notes for this episode and any of the other 39 previous episodes of the Virtual Staff Room over at www.virtualstaffroom.net. So pop over there, pay us a visit and see what you can find. We are also on Facebook, on the Virtual Staff Room. If you just do a search for that, you should find us. And of course, we are in the iTunes store where you can download us and subscribe and whatever else you want to do. So hope you enjoy. My name's Chris Betcher. See you next time.